Yo, everyone. This is Granblue Radio on location. We're in Tokyo. This is DJ behind me, and as our special guest, we have Galleon today.
And obviously, I'm ready for Unite and Fight, as according to my shirt.
So, Eddie,
last week.
So the Unite and Fight we'll talk about really quickly. So, what did you think about the existence of 250?
Oh, it was great because you wanna know why? I did nothing for day one and day two, and then I got 3 billion.
Yeah, a bunch of you outscored me because I spent most of day 4 on a plane. I was like, oh, people overtook me. Awesome. But I also like it because you just leave it alone for 20 minutes and then it's done. Well,
as long as you have a consistent setup, and this one was literally blue box though.
Yeah. Other people who had the privilege, I mean, we talked about this where Nightmare 250 was basically where Medusa was going to be queen, and she kind of was.
Yeah, auto display is pretty cool.
Yeah, full auto queen, not necessarily the speed queen, but whatever. Who needs to be speed queen? That's not what she's for. Anyway, so we have a whole bunch of new stuff to go through.
What's the next Unite fight?
It's Wind Favor.
Let's see here. Esta's in its stocks. Yo-yo stocks, but he super sucks because of the number of debuffs there are.
Yeah, not just that, but we have the new Galleon who cares about not attacking, and Astariola is like the one to.
He does not attack. So
yeah.
She's always getting that blocking too.
Yep. Oh, look at this! Look at this auto conversion button. That's the new thing they added. I love it. I just wish there was an easier way to manage auto convert in bulk.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to program that in a way that makes sense. Anyway.
I mean, it's hard. It's all a way around the game, so it's like everything's hard to think about it in the first place.
Yeah.
Like think about server overload.
Yep. All right. So we're going to start with the new shields that they just put in. We had a big maintenance. We had one of those funny maintenances where we came out of it. Then they discovered a game-breaking bug, and they're like, "We'll be right back."
That was funny. And they didn't remove it either, but it's like it doesn't matter. Like,
right, you only ever need one.
Yeah.
It's just that axe souls were dropping, and people were like, "What?"
And the people who got them were usually the people who already had them in the first place.
Yeah. So. All right, so we got 4 new shields from it, though. So let's just go over 6 new shields. Sorry, I don't have any of them yet. You can't trade for them either. So these
are all drops.
So 2 of them come from the Enneads. We have Shield of the Enthroned. That one's a tomb. The passive effect is slight chance of a partial reflection for 1 hit, and that doesn't mean anything. But
when you shield the
so when you are shield sworn specifically, everybody on your team gets 10% meter, and that's a good bonus. It's basically like giving shield sworn ultimate mastery.
That's 8 turn cooldown, but it's like that was always your go-to panic button in the first place.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter. You just get something for it now.
Yeah, the Lustrous Wall from Horus, it's dark resistance, whatever.
Yeah,
it's there for when you're actually just getting Horus, and then it'll drop eventually. The Gold Shield is another shield sworn one, and this one, as someone who, as a shield sworn, has a certain minus 100% to triple attack or so, I like this one. Just throwing that out there.
It isn't listed as guaranteed.
No. But
anything's better than 0.
It's better than negative 100. And, it's a meaningful effect instead of just a passive, which a lot of these were. The Black Shield is a meaningful passive. This is the one from Fediel.
You see damage cap 3%.
Yeah.
It's alright if you're not hitting cap. If you're hitting cap, it doesn't matter.
If you're hitting cap, it matters a very little bit. But anyway, so here's the Moonhill. It removes a debuff every 5 turns. That's
from Diaspora.
That's fine.
5 turns is you're planning specifically on turn 5.
Mm-hmm.
Well, specifically
also,
6,
Paladin has a chance of just removing a debuff from itself when you hit attack. So, But here's the big one. This is the Super Baja Shield. All allies get plus 1,000 CA damage. That's a prize. That's a real prize right there. Yeah.
That's pretty good. Super Ultimate Baja has been popping off lately for a good reason.
Yeah. A lot of these are just, shots in the arm to get people to join your stuff. And Super Baja, a lot more people have been able to just jump in there and start dealing damage. So, it's good.
Yeah, at least that was still during the time where people ignored having all elements, so you could just join whenever.
Mm-hmm. All right, so those are the new shields. We've got Manituras to talk about next. So
this is the one I'm sad about of why isn't it exchangeable?
Yeah, there's two that are exchangeable. There's one that's not. There's two that aren't exchangeable. Um, so the thing I like about this is that they went in different directions. Because when they added a new Manitou, the first Manitura they added that was new was Ouroboros, and that was just a strict upgrade on Leviathan, and it was a small upgrade from Leviathan comparatively, also compared to the effort that you'd put in.
Mm-hmm.
These ones, they're going in entirely different directions. All four of these are just doing incredibly different things. So, Europa. So, Europa's is water only, because it refers to Deluge Crest instead of Own Crest, first of all. And then it does water hit damage, so it's not a big downgrade from Leviathan at all. And you consistently get Glaciate every turn.
And that support abilities are pretty cool.
And yeah, you get bonus water damage to water allies against anybody with Glaciate.
10%.
And
is that the same number? Yeah, it is.
And as what? As Leviathan? Or
as Leviathan.
Yeah.
The thing is that it's way easier to upkeep Glaciate because it's not local.
Mm-hmm.
And Glaciate has a 100% chance of hitting unless the boss cannot be debuffed.
Yeah. And so here's another thing, is that water didn't have that many like every turn sources of Glaciate, because one of the things that changed fire from being like suckling on the teat of certain characters is
Luffy.
Yeah.
Because they gave that to Wilderness later.
Yeah. Is this Phoenix Torch. Hey, look. It gives you singed basically every turn, as long as you're 150, as long as you're above 50%. And so that means that a lot of characters who care about singed, including one extremely important one, no longer needed like a dedicated singed support, because, be honest, Percival on his own is bad at building singed.
I'm forced to do that, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're doing it in a fight, if you're planning on a fight that already is going to last like 20 something turns, it's not as important. When you're doing it for shorter stuff, then, it's nice to have on a shorter thing. And so what happens with this new Glaciate Manitura is there's a character who has kind of fallen out of favor, but he was kind of just waiting for exactly this situation, our boy Lancelot, because with the new Manitura, Lancelot stocks have gone way up. Just having another consistent character, which is the MC, to feed him Glaciate up to 7 and then up to 10.
Granted, he already had like good characters that actually get some there that also benefit from this too. For example, Phylene, anytime basically a skill is casted, she would just give you, she would just activate Whisper Frost.
Mm-hmm.
For example, and but this one is just you're just passively doing it now.
Yeah, so this one doesn't activate White Frost Whisper because it's a passive, but it helps a lot. And so yeah,
also Phylene's just good.
Phylene's just really good. She's viable for pretty much all content in the game.
Maybe they give her a story eventually.
We'll see. All right, so that's that Manitura. So that's the first one.
Oh yeah. Also, you get apparently you also get 5% TAF.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what Europa gives you as a character. So they'll do a little bit of that.
Yeah, water's really good for that.
Yeah. All right. So next up we have the one that you probably are not going to be as happy about.
Why is 70% meter?
So I'm just gonna press this button. I don't want to bother waiting for drops on this one. So here's Wilmus. So this is fire specific, and so when you have one Hellfire Crest, which you're always going to have, you're a Mana Diver. You press a button and it gives you a crest. Then after it does a single hit nuke.
Well, I don't know what damage cap is, but it's 1200% fire damage.
It's a single big hit. And then when you have 5, then it removes a buff. So you have another Auto Dispeller if you want it, but it only happens every other turn.
Because you can't build enough meter
Yeah,
because unless you like have more meter, you're building like only like 37% from drill attack, right?
Yeah, the classic meter support in fire is Anila, and she gives 50% up. She doesn't give double meter. She's not Nahan.
And by then you're also going back to Anila and her other buttons are not that great.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and then the support is you get skill specs based on Hellfire crests.
That's cool that never existed. Remember, passives don't stack together.
Yeah, that's on. Who's that on? Is that on Hecate?
Double checking.
Is it on Percival?
You know, I forget these passives nowadays.
Is it on Elmont?
No, definitely not on Elmont.
Okay, but anyway, there's someone there who does this, but I can.
I could be just thinking water because water has also a building crest.
Water's skill spec character is swimsuit Kolulu. But anyway, so the thing about this is I see this possibly being a thing in Fire Favor Unite and Fight because dispelling every other turn is still a good thing to do. We'll see what happens by then, though. But yeah, 70% is a lot. Like, I was talking about this where no one uses Bahamut Mino. 75% is just too much of a cost for what this gives you.
The answer is no, it doesn't exist in Fire yet.
Does not exist in Fire yet, okay.
No, because Percival does a fire attack boosts.
A fire attack based on Hellfire crests, okay.
However, it's no, not when you're giving up.
Yeah, alright, next up. Agastia.
It's one I wish you could just trade.
I wish you could trade for it as well. Alright, but they wanted more people to be joining Agastias, and joining they have.
I cannot find them.
So, alright, this is the thing about this one. The number one thing that we look at for this is it says no charge bar consumed. The rest of it is, it's important, but the first thing to say is that this lets you play Mana Diver as a class that can CA. And so, you can get your Dagger CA, like a lot of Mana Divers use Parazonium, and they only get that CA, like, very rarely.
You can also use the Dagger from, that we just got from Exo.
Yeah, Earth Exo can use this. This is actually amazing with water because a lot of the time water's opus when you're a Mana Diver is on Falsehood, and when that happened, your MC just didn't do anything on the turns that you did in Overtrance.
Yeah.
And so
you won't be able to do this charge attack thing,
but it still works when you have Falsehood in.
Yeah, sure. You just get a free nuke.
Yeah. You get a free nuke from attacking. And so you have a boost to MC's attack, defense, and multi-attack rate stackable whenever it happens.
50% attack, 50% defense, DA is 10%, it goes up to 50%, and DA goes up to 20%. That's pretty good numbers.
Yeah, and then at 12 or more buffs, you get Pinch Harmonics. You get a 12-hit elemental damage nuke to random foes on charge attacking.
90k plus.
Yeah, and so this part is really good, the 12-hit CA. So you can do the thing that they were doing with Warlock for a while, is that CA with a staff in your hands.
Yeah.
And so that opens up a lot of possibilities. That's been really good in testing so far.
Considering that the fact that your usual first turn is give them 2 dots and you steal 1 and now you're at 90.
Yeah, you're at 90 meter. And so the next turn you CA and then you just go kaboom.
And also you could it allows you to do the CA skill.
Mm-hmm.
But you could also just kill triple attack.
Yeah.
Triple attack, double strike for 2 turns.
So that's one of the things I like is that once again none of these are creeping out old stuff. They're just giving you different directions to go in. And then the last one.
I think the Gussie one's actually super important for higher level stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the fact that some of them are like, do 5 CAs.
Yep,
like,
4 or 5 or 6 CAs in a turn.
And it's like if you're playing Mana Diver, you couldn't do that.
You could, but it was always one of those asterisks. You always had to have like a button save just to do that, or you had to have a summon save just to do that. Blah 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 blah.
Right, but you were always minus 30.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yes.
Unless you were doing the debuff one, and I'm like, at that point,
why aren't you a Chaos Ruler?
You could just have a dagger in your hand and just do an auto nuke every turn
Yeah. So the last one is the Lucy one. Whenever you have any crests, do 900% elemental damage to a foe.
Damage cap of 1 million.
Then you leave behind the amp damage taken for the next person in line.
Or yourself.
Or if you're wild magic-ing.
Yeah. And then you
do it again.
Yeah.
And it uses up 30 meter. Here's the funny part. So here's the support. You boost MC's attack, multi-attack.
30% perpetuity, 25% DHCA, 10% damage cap, and plus 10 to your hostility.
So
everyone has a natural 10.
Yeah, so you get targeted more often.
You're 40%, I believe.
Yeah. Yep. And you lose 10% HP every turn, and I believe that's uncapped.
Yep, consumes 10% each turn. That's it.
Yeah. But the thing is that this actually has opened up a huge number of possibilities as well, among other things. So the funny thing is that this has made Cosmos full auto much more reasonable, because then you always are guaranteed to have a single big ass hit.
Yeah.
Which helps you move back toward red, as opposed to Mana Diver before, which would just and couldn't CA, which means that you were just always moving over to the right. So this one's really good as well, and once again, just different styles. So I really like what they did with Mana Torres. I just
wish that you could have left the Lucy one as a drop, but why Agostia? I literally can't find these raids anymore. And I'm like, this is my favorite one to do, because I could finish it in like
5 minutes or so, less.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are the new ones there. Let's go to the summons.
I can't wait for the Seraphon one, because you just looking over your shoulder,
telling you to kill people.
Yeah, the altered one. Except we fight the normal one.
We do fight the normal one. I'm just laughing that the Manatura for Seraphon would be the alter one, because, spoiler for Relink, as of at least in Relink, Seraphon says that the voice of the other Seraphon is in his head telling him to kill people. It's like, excuse me? And there's a version of you just saying, hey buddy, how you doing? Alright, so let's go talk about light summons. Because, it's actually hard for me to remember where she is now, because she looks different. So here's Grand Order. So she's changed a lot. This text right here under Grand Order's aura. So, so now she cares about weapon specialties. And the thing is, a single character can and will count for multiple weapon specialties, which is important.
You can have 2 weapon specialties.
Yeah. So when you're at 5 or more groups, then if she's main aura, you get a 10% boost to meter. Also, you get something called Skywish Blade to the MC.
You also get that when you summon on 5 step.
Yes. So when you have Skywish Blade on the MC, you do a nuke after your CA.
First, 30% CA damage, 15% cap.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get a 635k nuke after CA.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean...
You just go damage with every other person.
Yeah, but as a main, matching this with something like, say, a friend Huang Long, or just characters who fill your meter at the beginning of a fight, so there's your burst case. Your other cases for her, so the part where she gives defense as a main summon is not necessarily that common. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you use all of the same element of character with her now, because you haven't had viable multi-element characters forever, except
does her raid still use multi-elements?
Her raid still allows multi-element. It gives you a big boost for that. It's just that one.
The only thing I don't like is that it's a normal attack bonus.
Mm-hmm.
But then that just makes it better actually for Omega.
It makes it better for Omega, and it makes it better for things like the many Seraphon Spada grids.
When you specifically when you are not using the attack Espadas.
Fair enough.
Because those ones are normal.
Yeah. Alright, and then, so the summon, as we mentioned, there's that Skywish Blade effect, and then the sub is now 10% amp, instead of just 5%, and so, really good.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. But
She still also has to be wings, so you still get your drain along with everything.
your drain, your defense. So it's like a really good thing to summon. Like
we have buffs for that new Monero.
yeah, I may actually have to figure out. I'm probably cutting Yadima for her in my hard mode grids now.
I've been having to cut Yadima for a lot of things.
Yeah, same.
There's too many spaces.
Yeah, there's too much to do. All right, so those were the major new things that they added. Now let's talk about characters, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right, so we're in the middle of Flash Gala right now.
I got an SSR. It was Europa summon.
So we've got ourselves one of the wish list bosses from last year's Unite and Fight cycle. So we already got Hecate, and so here's Noire.
Maybe we'll should be in a lot more events. Like Hecate was like in a summer story, and then she was in an event this summer.
Yeah, I mean, the character is going to be popular because of the voice, and because of some things you can very clearly see here. But
yeah, the sword.
Definitely the sword. But it's like, so this character, people went and the reactions were so funny to watch. All right, so we're going down to support skills first.
I love that in Ice it'll just be there if they're the foes at minus 50% HP.
Yeah, so she's an executioner. She's a she smells blood and she goes for it. So when an enemy has 50% or less HP, she always triple attacks. She has chaser passively.
50% by the way.
50%. Then she has the special ramping flurry. So the first hit is normal, the second hit is 2 hits, the third hit is 3 hits, and then her buffs can't be removed while she's berserk.
This will also always activate when awakened madnesses in effect.
Which is up here in Edge of Depravity. And so, go ahead.
The buff itself is literally passive.
Yeah, the buff itself just says it's always on. And so for 3 turns out of 8, then she'll have that. So the first 3 turns she'll have it, and then some of the time that first 3 turns will bring the foe under 50%. And then it's on for the rest of the fight.
Yeah.
That'll be probably Nightmare 150. And then the thing is that you look at her other part of this skill, which is an amazing skill, and it's a very familiar thing. It turns out that Fallen Angels apparently just give Twilight Terror out.
You really do. Hey, you know what was really good last United Fight, Olivia?
Twilight Terror, yeah. So
you know what's cool? Making sure the boss doesn't actually CA for
2 turns.
50%.
Yeah. And so this is going to be amazing in 2 months. Edge Stream is just, it's a button. It's short. It's reasonable. It's short cooldown. This part is the funny part. So here's Abyssal Surge. She gives herself jammed. She eats how much of her HP? 20?
40.
40. Okay.
Current.
She gives herself crit.
It's 100% crit.
Which is important because the next part she gives herself is keen. Is it an extra 20k?
Yeah, isn't keen usually like the same every time?
Usually. It's 50k. Okay. Amplified normal attack damage.
30%.
And double strike for 2 turns. 2 turns of double strike.
That's weird. Well, it doesn't line up with the second Edge of Depravity, but double striking with guaranteed triple attack and 50% chaser
and keen.
And you probably have some weird daggers somewhere in there.
The thing is that and then she has a variation of the Cosmos thing where the lower her HP is, the higher the boost that she gives to other attack, which is nice, not great, but whatever. It's a little cherry on top of this entire package.
Yeah, well, it's like a 5%, I believe, from this first cast.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird formula. Like around 50%, you have 10% attack.
Okay, so the next thing is her weapon itself is a variant on the Show Fist because it's bloodshed, and then it's both garrison and enmity.
Pretty good.
It's very good.
And you can 4-star immediately.
What's the show fist have on it other than Bloodshed again? I don't know if I have that character. Hold on.
I mean, I have show. I don't remember what it does.
Yeah, let's just go look. Included items. Characters.
Is might.
It's just generic might. Okay.
It's small might, small enemy.
So you trade out the might for Garrison. Got it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Actually, no. You also trade up to big enemy.
Oh, okay.
Because they have a small enemy, small might.
Got it. So yeah, really good character. She's gonna be everywhere in 2 months.
I went to a radio show.
Yeah, Yopi. It's funny. Like I talk about Tanezaki Atsumi noises for Vikala, and Yopi can basically do her own version of those noises too. So good on GBF for having more of these characters. All right, last thing we're talking about. Novei, a character for the Tokyo Orchestra. Weird.
Yeah.
What are we doing tomorrow?
You know.
We're going to the orchestra. All right. So we got Novei. She follows up the release of Robertina. So my joke is, all right, see you in the 2026 orchestra when you've assembled all 5 in light. All right.
Yeah, I can't wait for more people not to tag me.
Pardon my German, but here we go. We're going to go straight to the support skills again. Flowing Concerto. At the end of the turn, if a light ally didn't attack...
That was not German.
Yeah, that's the only one that's not German, by the way.
No, Elegant Solo is not that much German.
Elegantes Solo. It is technically German still.
Is it not much?
Alright, so Flowing Concerto. If any light ally didn't attack, so this is like the mini Summer Galleon thing, that she does light damage to a random foe, and she lowers the skill 3's skill standby and the number of the cooldown, and it activates based on the number of light allies who did not attack that turn. Which includes...
That's like Galleon.
Yeah. Which includes Robertina, and I forget who else in light turns off their attack. Sui, I think? Does Sui turn off her attack?
Our God, the Sakura.
Let's not talk about that one. Then she boosts attack and defense to harp allies based on their number of buffs.
It's on perpetuity model, right? That's pretty cool.
That is neat. But
it goes, it's 2% attack, 4% defense, or buff, up to 15 buffs.
Okay.
So 30%, 60.
The defense part is important.
And you're a harp class, so you have a billion buffs.
Yeah? Alright. And so that's one thing. So she's trying to turn off her attack and other people who have their attack turned off often enough to get this skill 3 online as fast as possible. And this is what it does. 14 hits of light damage.
Oh yeah, now the Joe answer is going to sell.
Yeah, that's true. Dispel a buff and heal. And when she has 15 or more buffs, then it's 28 hits. It's a mega nuke.
Why does it only dispel 1 buff?
Very good question.
Yeah, you have to wait so long to do all this. Also, your heal is only 5,000.
Okay. So really, it's all about the 28 hit nuke.
Did you also know that she doesn't have a heal node?
I did not know she doesn't have a heal node.
Yeah. So
it's at 5,000.
That heal exists.
So the thing is, though, that's like 28 hits. Like the hoops that you jump through for that many hits on a character in light is Kumbira has to hit skill 2 a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 24 hits ish. Io has to get to a certain flowery number, and she doesn't have as nearly as many ways to cheat the cooldown. Kumbira definitely cheats that cooldown hard. But yeah, 28 hits. It's very satisfying when you see it. In order to get there, though, you have to turn on the skill 1, where she can't attack, and at the end of the turn, everyone gets meter. And she activates her skill 2 every turn while this is on. So it is 5 turns out of 7 or so. But skill 1, naturally it lasts 5 turns.
But you can extend it, that's the only.
And given that she makes up for her not attacking by gaining a steady 20 meter a turn, then
for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, also does that. The other orchestra character,
Robertina. Yeah.
hers comes from her nuke.
And so instead of attacking, she will cast her nuke every turn, which is 3 hits, gives tuning,
Which works with Robertina, who gives more supplemental skill damage from tuning.
And she for every tuning that you get up to a certain point, you get 8 hits to Elegante Solo instead. So this is just how she attacks. Is her skill 2. And then every once in a while you get rewarded by the big thing.
So I was reading up, double checking on Flowing Concerto.
Okay.
It says number of activations increases.
Flowing Concerto
Down.
Yeah, so
number of activations.
Yeah, so it actually does.
It can actually have multiple times going on.
Yeah, so you can actually cut multiple turns off of Traumhafter each time.
So with just her and
Robertina,
you'll get that on turn 3.
And then it'll come back up in like 4-ish turns after that, because you're cutting it by 2 every turn. Or
remember seeing counts as attacking.
Okay, so about 5-ish turns then.
You're building 40 meter each turn. Well, plus the other characters seeing math weird.
Yeah, all right.
The answer is it's weird. It's really funny. She does. She cares about not attacking, but I definitely use the other character for seeing looping.
Sorry, I'm just gonna zoom in and move something around. Don't mind me.
I see. But it's. Let me check something on the other character. Okay, so the other character gives skill damage and a skill damage cap from their buff. That she gives sackable light up to 50%. Not bad.
Do I have a Robertina? I don't. I have Sui. Does Sui turn her attack off at all? Scarlet Robe. Nope, she gives Assassin. Never mind. It's very different. All right.
In general use case, this character actually has to be built around. Robertina, like she can actually function on her own.
Yeah, like I said, see you in 2026 when the entire orchestra is assembled. All right.
Yeah, by conclusion, Robertina is really good.
And Novei is a character waiting for the rest of her team to arrive.
Yeah,
because it's like
she has the right support in Robertina, because Robertina is skill damage supplement.
But it's like, so right now, the bands are Wind has a very easy time building a cohesive and strong band like Kentate, Karo. A bunch of these characters work together really well. Neon just works with anybody. UL got a recent buff, and she's very strong. And then we were just talking about how Fireharp is also getting strong with like Bale and the reworked Aoidos. Also UL, yeah. But like they're turning it into a weapon spec where the identity of it is like everybody works together to just do a ton of nukes. And I like that.
Yeah.
It's getting there. It's getting there. I think that's it. I think we've talked about everything that we were going to talk about.
Yeah, no, I just wish she didn't rely on other characters.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially at this stage of the, whatchamacallit, at this stage of the releases. Like, why is she the second one to release and not like the third or fourth when you have the rest of the team?
Yeah. Also, once again, why is it removed like 3 buffs? Like you could literally, I have to build around this so hard.
Mm-hmm.
I have to wait around for 12 quotation mark turns, and like the best way I could cheat it out is V2 and just blocking, which is not a very good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Or just by having a character that turns off or doesn't attack at all. And usually MC's not one of them unless they're holding up axe in hand and saying, "I'm not attacking."
Yeah, shields warning. Yeah. And that has, as we mentioned earlier in this this discussion, a long cooldown.
Yeah, 8 turns.
It's an emergency button rather than a like press this.
Well, to be fair, there is actually an MC skill that you can turn off your attack. You're also a harp. Because that one,
Are we going back to Elysian, like the Forgotten Harp class?
Yeah.
Because Rising Force is just taken over fully.
Let me look it up.
Classes.
It should be diatonic harmony.
Let's see. Nighthound is next after this, but Elysian. So in 2025, we'll get Elysian, and we'll get there, friends. We'll finally get to a point where Elysian is. Whoops! Did not mean to do that.
All right, so
Oops.
here, diatonic harmony. Granblue grants the following buffs, and please note, remember we're talking about we're trying not to attack. Guaranteed TA.
All right.
You need to find a red seal.
Did I just not learn it? Yeah, I just didn't learn it.
Yeah,
I
it
didn't
sucks.
bother because it sucks. This is the only class I've done this for, by the way. Literally the only class I haven't learned these skills for.
Yeah, so imagine turning off your attack and giving somebody triple attack on a team that doesn't attack.
All right.
So, anyways, they need to read your quick skill.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there, team. Someday. There's a place for us someday. Let's go back to Mandiver before I forget, because this is just sad. This is just sad to look at, DJ. All right.
Yeah, and Accelerando, you can't even use that again in this team I'm talking about.
Yeah, it actually just doesn't work.
Correct.
All right. Anyway, so that's it for this episode. By this time next week, I mean, I'll be back in the States. You won't be yet.
Am I doing anything that Friday? Let me double check.
But
it depends on if I'm doing anything Friday.
Friday at 1 p.m. for you. Just hop in a Discord call, maybe.
I am not doing anything Friday.
Okay, well, I'll talk to you then. But
I'm not even doing anything on Saturday either.
But until then, it's time to say goodbye, Galleons. This thing is so fun. I'm just not... The thing is that I'm also having fun doing this because it's air-conditioned in this room. As soon as we step outside, this will stop being fun. This will stop being fun. This is silicone. It does not breathe. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Later.